Tuesday, June 9th. I am Camille, founder and CEO of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. And our guest today is Beth Ramonsky. She is the Director of Professional and Continuing Education at Maryland University of Integrative Health. Wow, that is a mouthful. She is also a nutrition health coach and the creator and co-host of Wellness Warriors podcast, radio podcast. In terms of partnership, I just have to say that Beth is a powerhouse. And that's our topic for today, the power of partnership. Beth, is there anything you want to add to your introduction before we get into some of the meat or juice of today's topic?
Well, thank you everyone for joining today. It's wonderful to see all your faces from all over the country and world. And thank you, Camille, for this invitation to chat about our collaborations and just the power of partnerships. And this time is great to discuss it because we can make partnerships from anywhere in the world. So thank you again for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to chatting with you today.
That's a really great point, especially in this day and age where the internet has, it's just risen to a higher level of significance. And the benefit of that is we really can now create partnerships that are all over the place and leverage them for even more value than before. So that's really what the power of partnerships is about, is how do we leverage the power of connections and collaborations to expand our reach, your reach, in whatever it is that you do, whether you are a healing professional or help heal our businesses, right? It is health and lifestyle and business. It kind of creates the whole kit and caboodle for all of us. And more people are paying attention to their overall health and wellness than ever before. At the same time, it's become really clear that our health is connected to our budget and overall wellness, right? What's more stressful than being broke? Well, if you're not healthy, that's a little more stressful than being broke. So win-win is when you can partner your health and your wealth. Win-win is when you create other partnerships that work for not just both parties, but work to reach beyond. You've probably all heard the term preaching to the choir. So part of the point of the Holistic Chamber of Commerce and the partnerships we create is how do we increase the size of the choir? How do we help you reach more customers, clients, and patients? How do we help more people find you for the products and services that they can really benefit from? Well, they've got to know about you first. And the more we partner with others, the more we create that reach. So I just want to share, because I woke up with this one new idea this morning. It was not officially in the outline yet, but it's, what if we actually started to think of everyone as a partner? Everyone. So, there's the obvious. We've got our significant other, if you're in a relationship, but our children are partners in our family. And so for me at the HCC, right, our members are our partners in spreading the word about what it is to be holistic. Our chapter presidents are partners in creating a network for our members and also a presence in their local communities. And then we have other types of partners like MUIH, right? So just ask yourself that question. Who are all the partners in your life and the other partners in your business that you've never really thought about as a partner? What if your clients, customers, and patients are really partners, not just partners in their own health, right? But also partners in expanding the word about how cool your products and services are, how good you are at what you do. All right, so now we're going to go get back on track. Beth, Can you, as a director of PCE and as a podcast, that was me combining podcast and radio, as a podcast radio host, talk about why partnerships are important for you in your professional work and really how they make things better for you?
Well, first off, I'd like to just reflect on what you shared with the participants today. I really enjoy what you had to bring about everyone being a partner, because as you think about it, so I have a background in a variety of areas. I have a background in marketing, event planning. I transitioned into higher education after a first career. And throughout my wellness journey, experiencing my own health challenges and exploring holistic ways to feel like myself again, I became certified as an integrative nutrition health coach. And as a health coach, you just explained it. That's what health coaches do. We are a mentor, we're a guide, we're a partner. And I would really encourage everyone, on this call, of course, you're doing something different in the world already, being a practitioner in an integrative or holistic health space, because you are not just telling people what to do and prescribing and, just feeling like making people feel like they're the other or you're the expert. I really embrace that about the space that we're in, that we are partners and that we're working together, on this journey. And that's why the Holistic Chambers is so wonderful. In my career, both professionally, in my academic role at Maryland University of Integrative Health, as well as prior to MUIH, partnerships have always been a critical component of my enjoyment of my work as well as my success, because we are only as big as each of us can be individually, and some of us are great and we have this huge presence and that's amazing, but the fact is that we can do so much more together. And it's really working smarter and not harder. It's sharing ideas and resources and expertise. And I really encourage everyone to rethink the competition in a way that could be exploring more partnership opportunities, that we're in this together. And I think the people on this call and that are part of the Holistic Chamber have that mentality already. We are more of the type of person that's willing to collaborate and appreciate each other and see how we can, play off of each other's strengths. And I think that there's a multifactorial reason why you would want to create partnerships, not only for more reach and revenue, like you said before in the introduction, how, we can only reach so many people, but exponentially how that can trickle out through various collaborators that you have in what you do. And even if it's just that small little group within, your community, it's possible to create these partnerships on a grand scale or on a community scale and have positive impact. You asked me about my podcast, and again, that's a whole nother area where I actually co-host and collaborate with somebody to launch the Wellness Warriors Radio podcast. And not only is it a lot more fun, but it's a lot less work on my part. And through each of our networks, we're reaching a bigger audience. So again, it really just comes down to making it more fun, making it more efficient, reaching more people, spreading the message, and hopefully, changing people's lives.
Oh, yeah. So guys, let me just give you a tip on this. If you can find a partner that's got strengths that you don't have, because Beth is organized, and I used to be organized in a prior life, but now if Beth weren't as organized, she is, just gone. So when you're thinking about creating those more official partnerships, sometimes looking for somebody with strengths you don't have. Or we were talking, you mentioned sometimes we feel like we're competing with somebody else who might do something similar. Well, think of it differently. How about, for example, if you're a hands-on practitioner, say a massage therapist or an acupuncturist or a chiropractor, think about creating a partnership with somebody who does the same thing, but in a different location. Maybe you're on two different sides of a large city, right? So by talking about each other, you're feeding patients, clients to each other, recognizing that once the world goes back to driving, people really don't like to drive a lot. They'd rather usually go to somebody close to home or close to work. And I do think a lot more people will be working from home now that companies have realized that they can do it and still be successful. So, all right, so let's drill down into some more specifics, Beth. What are some of the types of partnerships that you like to create that really make a difference for you?
Well, there are so many options. I think that's really what we wanted to share with everyone today, is that there isn't just one size fits all, just like there's no one size fits all diet, right? It's going to be based upon your goals. There are short-term and long-term partnerships, so not all partnerships need to last years or really go to the extent that you may feel a little bit more locked in or formalized. But as one example, I, at one point, I have a lot of ideas, but I do like to implement some of those. And at one point, I brought together a group of about 10 health and wellness coaches like myself, and we were all, again, in the same space as you think about competition, but we all have specialties, all have different approaches, and we actually formed a little mini group to do a summit, a health coach summit. I mean, I just came up with this idea and it was like amazing. We shared contacts and it was really collaborative and it was very successful, but that was a limited term engagement. So thinking about doing things related to events or programming is definitely one way that you can immediately gain an impact with your partnership and collaboration approach. Now, I must say that we're using the terminology partnership and collaboration because in some instances, a partnership indicates something more formalized, and we want to keep this flexible and fluid and open. So many times I also just refer to things as collaborations if it's a little bit less informal and doesn't require something that would be more legally binding as a partnership or exclusivity in that regard. So I just want to clarify our terminology here, why we're using both terms.
Keep in mind that Beth does work for a university, right? So a larger employer or a larger company would definitely have a more rigid sort of point of view there, because there are just laws that govern certain companies, certain types of entities. And if you're a solopreneur, your partnerships might be more, a handshake.
Correct, yes.
Remember the handshake sort of partnership. So it just kind of depends on your position. Certainly, a lot of people who do the telesummits are creating at least a 1 to 2 page written agreement so that everybody knows what they're in for, what they've committed to, and what they're going to get. And I have to say, by the way, because I have seen some people create some partnerships without written agreements, but really large expectations. So you should look at some of the relationships that you're creating, and if there is a financial component, having something in writing, even if it is only 1 to 2 pages, can be very helpful. We never want to think we're going to get a divorce, but divorce happens, and it's good to have kind of an out clause. Change happens. So it's not that we want to go into something thinking we're going to get divorced, but sometimes recognizing that priorities can change. Obviously, circumstances in the world have changed. So recognizing that at the beginning and having something in writing that just says, if we have a breakup, this is what happens. And also recognizing that if you set it up in writing, in many cases, you're taking it more seriously. And when you're taking something more seriously from the get-go, you set yourself up for better results, right? Not just airy-fairy. I know we're an airy-fairy crowd, but it's setting yourself up for those powerful results. So I know I see a couple of you taking notes, so I'm going to give you something to just write down different types of partnerships that you can create. So social media, in some ways, is an influence-related partnership. I mean, one reason that people become members of the HCC is, you know, the HCC and me, between the two of us, we have 15,000 connections on LinkedIn, 15,000 connections on Facebook. So influence in social media is a partnership for awareness, for education, for building your brand. There are affiliate partnerships. Beth and I are going to talk about that in a second. There are community or industry partnerships. And then there are healthcare collaborations and referral types of partnerships. So Beth, do you want to give us a little more illumination, if you will, on the types of partnerships that you find yourself creating the most for MUIH or for Wellness Warriors?
Yeah, so I think that from the perspective of the affiliate partnership, as the audience that we're speaking to today is one that we should certainly cover. For those of you that aren't as familiar with it, there's many companies now that offer affiliate marketing and affiliate programming, and you have to certainly weigh that against what you currently offer in your business and be very transparent about it for legal purposes as well in your marketing. But the affiliate relationship is essentially when you align yourself with a brand or a product or a company or organization, and you align yourself with that, so you share it, and then you get a referral commission off of that product or program. And it's a very common, interesting field. I would recommend, I'm an affiliate for various companies as a health coach. I think that you have to really decide how you want to approach that in your own practice. And again, everybody has a different scope of practice. So you may be an acupuncturist and have different regulations with your marketing. I'm just speaking in broad strokes right now. As a health coach, if you wanted to refer somebody to a company, I don't know that I want to name a company here right now, but just a nutrition food company or something like that. I mean, there's many programs out there now. You have to kind of decide how you're going to market that to your clients and your patients. So in my practice, what we do, and then on the podcast, is we're very transparent. If there is a partner that wants to come on and they want to promote their product, we will offer, a discount many times on their program or their product. And then we would get a referral commission. We're very transparent on that, but we only recommend the products and companies that we use ourselves and feel strongly about, because that feels good to us. So you want to select those carefully, but if you do it correctly, and there are some programs out there that I know people really, really believe in it, they partner, and they actually get a very significant amount of revenue just by sharing something, not even doing the work themselves, but just by sharing it. So that's really something to think about in terms of your overall business strategy. In addition, I asked you to flip that around, and I ask you now to think about what programs and things that you can offer a referral commission as an affiliate. There are a multitude of platforms out there that provide this technology now to do affiliate tracking, and you can actually invest in those at a very affordable price, and there's so many out there. even I think Eventbrite, even has sort of an affiliate thing set up. So many technology resources are already available for you to kind of build that in. You can also just do it very basic. If you're having like just a couple of affiliate partners, and you can select those very strategically and say, all right, I want to give you this marketing copy, have you, promote your program. And that's kind of like what we were doing at MUH, which is very unique for higher ed, because I am in a professional division. I can be a little bit more business oriented, I should say, in some of the approaches that we offer, discounts and things of that nature to various organizations and members. And that is, again, another way to have this preferred partnership relationship where we say, organization, Holistic Chamber of Commerce, I'm going to give you an exclusive discount. So think about that in your own business, how you can signal out and say, I appreciate you. If you promote and help me share this program, I'm going to give you a discount. I'm going to give you this benefit or add-on. It doesn't always have to be monetary. It could be something that's also value added if you don't want to necessarily do the monetary route. But creating that win-win is important in those types of relationships. So affiliate marketing, affiliate relationships is something you can think about as signing up for yourself, as well as having your programs be open to that as well. So I wanted to just cover that. Do we want to take questions at the end, Camille, or later? Should I go on to the next type, or do we want to pause?
We don't usually take questions during these calls because we've got plenty already scheduled. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Make sure.
So I would like you to talk a little bit about where you find your partners, both for MUIH and Wellness Warriors.
Well, let me just talk a little bit about, I covered the community partnerships. I mean, I think that's also really important in terms of thinking in your own little world, in your own little area. So what type of network can you form within the Holistic Chamber? You can start there. This is a great place to start. You don't need to, when you were talking about finding partners, look right within your own community. This is it. Just reach out. You have hundreds of people in this chamber that you can connect with and reach out to. Somebody may respond to you, somebody might not, but you have to just look for people that are like-minded, have similar missions, and that would be a great place to start. But in terms of community, we can make such an impact in our own community just by forming the right partnerships. Because again, you might be an acupuncturist, then you might have a health coach who might bring in some of their resources and their expertise with the actual working one-on-one to have people really create that behavior change. You might have a nutritionist. Think about the integrative health model. Maryland University of Integrative Health is about integration. We are not about conventional versus holistic and complementary. The integration is what is needed to change healthcare and health and wellness in today's world. We need to have both sides working together, and that's really what we embody. And so think about how you can start to talk to that conventional practitioner in a way that is more collaborative and speaks their language and understand where their brain is coming from, so that you can reach them and not have them kind of just like put you off. We actually have a course, a very mini lecture-based course called Communications and Collaborations in Healthcare. It's a short master class. It's completely self-paced, online, on demand. And we developed that just because people need to recognize from this space, like how to get into that field. It's really hard. It's hard to get into corporate. It's hard to break down those barriers. But once you do, once you know the language and what people are looking to hear and how to go about it, you will actually make a bigger difference. And it's going to have people coming to you. You want those referrals coming to you. So important to create those community partnerships as well as the referral network within the practitioner field, as well as Camille mentioned in terms of the people that you're working with. Think of them as partners. Think of them as your marketing arm. So how do you find them? It's within your own network. Just start there. Think of who you know. It's about networking. I think Rob Brooks, my colleague, is on this call. We do a lot of networking in our roles, just hearing what other people, what their goals are, what their specialties are. You may follow somebody. You'd be surprised at how many people I used to just admire and follow. And now I'm like working with them and thinking, well, we're just working on this program together. It's crazy how willing people often are to work and collaborate if you're trying to, just help each other out and gain mutual benefit. And I don't want to skip to the next question, but that's really the key. I want to just emphasize that this is not all about you. So if you go in with an ask, in terms of collaborating, you have to be open and you have to have something of value to offer them. I think that's important as well, in terms of you need to know what you're going in for to talk about versus just having no game plan. Just, I want to talk about partnering. Well, what type of idea do you have? We're all very busy people. So you kind of have to have a fluid agenda in place, kind of know what you're thinking about, or you might just be having coffee and tea with somebody informally and it kind of evolves naturally. But if you're going to go out there and do an ask, you have to come with some sort of meat to your reasoning and kind of a goal in mind for what you want to accomplish, not to waste people's time.
That's great. So think in terms of balance, but also, like, I get that sometimes when we use the term partnership or collaboration, it sounds like it has to be a big deal, but it can be really simple. So as an example, on LinkedIn, for those, by the way, I'm a big fan of LinkedIn, also a big fan of Facebook, but on LinkedIn, there's something called a give kudos, and you can just like click and give somebody kudos. What happens then is that little kudos sticker shows up on your feed and their feed. So all of your connections see it and all of their connections see it. So a simple partnership, for example, is you agree to do that for each other, right? It's just a one shot, but it announces to everybody in both networks that, you really believe in this person. So you also don't have to be creating those types of partnerships with somebody who does the same thing. Maybe you are a health professional and you know a webmaster and you want to do your little kudos or recommendation for somebody who's a webmaster, or an insurance person, which, by the way, makes a lot of sense. Somebody who offers health services and is talking about insurance, likewise somebody who sells insurance talking about somebody who offers health services, right? So it's nice to create some of the bigger partnerships, but sometimes you want something that's quick and easy and done by the end of the day or the end of the week.
I like what you're saying, how you can really think about this in terms of your business strategy, what feels right to you at any one point, because some types of collaborations may be very simple to implement, such as like what you mentioned. A lot of times people will do these Instagram pods, where they'll form a pod and they'll like and post and comment, and that gets your reach out there. But then, we might do something where I'm actually developing a new educational program, a certificate with another organization, and we're bringing the learning design, the academic resources, the things that academic institutions can provide in terms of pedagogy and really curriculum design, and this organization is bringing the subject matter expertise. Right? So think about creating programming like that. That's a much larger initiative. So think about a retreat. You could do a one-day retreat, have various speakers come in and do different topics. And again, it's really like you don't have to do it all yourself at the end of the day. That's really it. It has to be a win-win, and you just don't have to do it all yourself. And that's, I think, what we're trying to get across to everybody.
So I think at the very beginning, we may have talked about, and it might have actually been before we officially started, drip marketing. So for me and the HCC, drip marketing is that it's that long term, right? So some marketing is, I'm going to send an email, I want everybody to click today, right? Because of course, who doesn't want to make a sale today? We all want to make a sale today. And at the same time, there's the concept of we're in this for the long term. So if we don't make a sale today, we might make a sale tomorrow or a week from now, because somebody might be ready for your product or your service today, but somebody else isn't going to need it for another week or another month. So what I want to talk about with that, where we're leading to, is there are direct results and indirect results that very often come out of your partnerships. And Beth, I know I have some things I want to say about this, but you work at MUIH, and that's definitely, I mean, it's an educational institution. Some people are ready to sign up for a course today, and some people, it might be a little longer down the road. Some partnerships, it's easy to track the results today, and sometimes you lose that tracking capability. So how does that show up for you?
Yeah, I think that, you know, partnerships take time to cultivate, as any relationship. And you have to, with the long-term partners, be willing to put in the effort and cultivate it. And in my experience in higher ed, you know, when we would create a partnership with an organization, a company, for example, you know, I would go in and do a presentation to their employees and talk about our educational offerings and offer the benefits as a preferred partner. But you're right, not everybody is at that place where, you know, showing up for a lunch and learn one day, you know, you meeting me here today might compel you to say, hey, I want to check out MUIH. But Camille and I have worked together for a long time. We've met in person. We've really formed a trust and a relationship that is really trying to say, like, what can I do to help you? What can you do to help me? How can we make a bigger impact? So it's really about that relationship building and just always remembering the person and the people involved. This is also a business arrangement, and that makes sense. You have to be business minded and think about it that way. But you also have to think about, as integrative health practitioners, I always think that we have a little bit more of that human nature to us. And one thing that's very, I just want to share this, a little bit off tangent, but at MUIH, you know, I haven't been there that long. I've been there for 2.5 years, and starting my new program has been really wonderful and exciting. But I was really drawn to the community. And interestingly enough, as we sign off instead of sincerely, sometimes I'll do best, you know, in my closing. But MUIH has in partnership, and then you put your name. And I, you know, just thinking about that, it's with students in partnership. We're in partnership with each other in the world. I think COVID has really illuminated that. Today's, you know, landscape has become ever so small, and, you know, even the recent, you know, protests, and it's just like we're all in this together. And so, you know, I'm getting off on my tangent here, but I just wanted to say that long-term partnerships do take effort, so you have to recognize that. And that's, again, where you just want to go at the end of the day, like, what is my business strategy? You can't have 100 quality partners. You know, maybe it's that you have 2 and you really go deep with those. You know, you take the time to invest, because this is where you're going to get the biggest return, right? It's not about volume always. So think about, again, it always goes back to your goals and your business and your strategy, and everybody's going to have a little bit of a different mindset and approach to that. But I encourage you to think about it in that way, in terms of what return and what would be invested in your part to really make that happen.
Yeah. So again, we're in business kind of for the long haul. So that direct versus indirect. You know, many of you have at least one affiliate partnership, and if you don't, by the way, you might want to start thinking about what organization you know that does offer affiliate click-through links. But the trackable, the direct result is you give somebody a link and they click and they buy today. The indirect result is maybe they heard about your product or service in the email that your partner just sent today, but they didn't click on that link. So for example, we can send an email about MUIH that's going to have a link that's going to be trackable, yay, but it's also possible that somebody doesn't click on the link in today's email, and what they do is they remember MUIH, Maryland University of Integrative Health, from our email, and then welcome to the world of cookies. When MUIH pops up in that feed on the right-hand side of the screen a month from now, then they click on that link. That, by the way, folks, is the power of branding. It's that partnership that we have with the MUIH created a branding boost, and then further down the line, somebody clicks on another link, or maybe they don't click on the link in our email today, but next week when they have more time, they go to Google and look it up, and right, our partner shows up. So remember, when you're looking at the value of a relationship, the value of a partnership, heck, the value of membership, some of the results are going to be really direct and easy to track, and some of the results are going to show up over time, and they're going to be more indirect and maybe not as easy to track, but you can know that some of your partnerships are working for you behind the scenes, whether or not you're really paying attention to them. That, by the way, is part of the magic of mindset. And if you're in the Holistic Chamber of Commerce or in our tribe, I know you're working in the world of mindset and manifestation, magic and miracles. All right, so we are almost at the end of our time, Beth.
There's so much more to say, though. I have to, it's crazy how much there is to say about this topic. So,
yeah, so let's get to what are your 1 to 2 top tips for our people who are creating new partnerships or up-leveling their partnerships. What are those things that people really want to step into today or soon?
Well, we didn't go over this on the agenda, but, I think that if you were to ask me off the fly like this, the top tips is just really about that this is a win-win scenario. So think about that, again, if you're working with a conventional practitioner and you're trying to engage with them for referrals and client referrals, if you are interviewing somebody on your podcast, for example, and they're sharing your podcast to reach their audience, but they're also promoting their business, like, what are you getting out of it? What are they getting out of it? Try to come to that conclusion, in your brain, so that you can really focus your efforts on creating the right partnerships instead of just, a million partnerships with anybody and everybody. Really try to form the ones that will matter most in your practice, in your life, in your business. I also want to just encourage you to think of everybody as a potential partner, and don't be, thinking that just because somebody seems to be a competitor. In my higher ed background, I actually worked to form a consortium of colleges and universities who were competitors, but we all liked each other and we valued each other for what we each had to bring, and the student will determine where they're going to go. So if you can be that person who's willing to support and lift other people up and really share that, I think that will just return in your favor overall in the end. And that's really what the intention that we go into this, with our hearts as well, is going to really, I think, show up in our business and our lives. So again, be careful about, legal aspects. Those are all the nitty-gritty aspects of partnerships, because like Camille said, they can go a little bit awry sometimes. Choose your partners wisely and be open to the opportunities.
Yes, and So I think those are really good tips. They're great starting points. You're all in a network of holistic providers in mind, body, spirit, business, budget, planet. So certainly look at some of your fellow members as places to start. And also look at your current relationships and consider, right, where are those partnerships, those relationships that you might be able to add on something simple or something more long-term. And speaking of one of our favorite long-term partnerships, now that you have met Beth and Maryland University of Integrative Health, let me just share that our members, and you're hearing it here. So by the way, even if you're not a member, take a note. Our discount code is HCC10, and you can get a 10% discount on professional and continuing education courses at MUIH. Beth, is there anything you want to? Oh, so in the spirit of transparency, not only do you get a discount, but yes, we get an affiliate fee, which, by the way, is one of the reasons we can afford to keep membership fees so reasonable, is we have affiliate partners that create additional income for us and help us cover the overhead. Yeah, there are costs involved with running a professional organization. Who knew? Beth, do you want to add anything about what you're doing there at MUIH and our special?
Thank you for that opportunity. We're very happy to offer a discount to our preferred partners, like the Holistic Chamber of Commerce. It's been an interesting journey. We are a solely integrative health focused university, which is really special. And I encourage you, if you don't see something now that piques your interest, we are always developing new content and new courses. So again, this program is really growing, so I encourage you to sign up for our mailing list and stay tuned. But the one we mentioned today was collaborations and communications in healthcare. There are some master classes that are self-paced, on-demand, online. Many of our programs are in that format, especially right now. And you can do them virtually at your own time. And I think this is a great time to invest in yourself and add a little bit to your skill set. It may be a little bit of a slower time, but the programs we offer are very affordable. You do often get lifetime access to those. And that way you can have the credential, but also then say, you know, I feel a little bit more confident to specialize or share some expertise in some of these areas you may not have explored before. So I encourage you to check it out or share it with somebody that you know. Again, we're growing. And that's all I can do, is to just be a support. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to the Office of Professional and Continuing Education at ce@muih.edu. Our website is www.muih.edu. And if you're interested in listening to Wellness Warriors Radio, you can find us on all podcast platforms, where I interviewed our very own Camille very recently. If you hadn't heard the show, it was a really nice chat we had.
Yeah, I just shared it on my Facebook feed for those of you who are friends of mine. Okay, the power of partnerships. We are co-creating this world together. So let's start looking at everybody as a partner. And thanks to the magic of social media, we can really get that started today. Thanks for all of you who added your name and contact info in the chat. Next month, second Tuesday, 10 a.m. Pacific, topic still to be decided on. Thank you, Beth.
You have something to do today. You have something to look up. You're going to go reach out to somebody to network and see what you can do. So
easy peasy, lemon sneezy.
Action
Have a good
plan.
day. Click below to subscribe now.